It's the hardest part about selling is selling to people you don't already know. Hey guys, welcome. Matter of fact, welcome to this edition of Getting Clear with Coach Desmond. Matter of fact, I am, as you know, for those of you who follow me, I'm a professional coach. Matter of fact, I specialize in working with individuals who identify themselves as introverted perfectionists. You know who you are. Yes, this is a subject that comes up quite often in my coaching when I'm working with people just like yourself who are actually amazing at sales. That's right. Introverts are amazing at sales. You may not believe it, but they are. And in fact, in some cases, people have said that introverts actually outsell extroverts 2 to 1 as long as they're selling their way. Okay. All right. So, what are we talking about here today is in regards to what happens after you sold to family, friends, and coworkers. Well, this is the part where most organizations or individuals begin to take a really downward spiral because at this point in time, they're having a huge problem getting out there because everybody they've spoken to knows them. There's a comfort level going on here as well. But when we start talking about to people that we don't know, what do we fear? We fear what we don't know. So, guys, let me kind of give you guys a little bit of encouragement in this area, particularly for you introverted perfectionists out there and also who are trying to figure out how can I be able to, well, how can I actually start selling without having this constant awkwardness that I'm always feeling on the inside. So lean in. Guys, listen, it turns out you have a type. We all do. Now, this is not necessarily new. Think about this for a second. You have major organizations from Google, Jaguar, Ferrari, Michael Kors, what have you, that have specific departments just set aside whose whole study is to simply talk to their type. That's right. Michael Kors knows they have a type. Apple has a type. You know who's not Apple's type? Not me. You see, I'm 57 years of age on that, and I rock my Android. Believe it or not, Apple already knows that there's really no point of talking to somebody like me because I'm probably not going to be able to come over to the other side. You see, understanding your type is a very effective and efficient way to do two things: save money and increase your enthusiasm to do what? Focus on talking to the right people. The drain that you and I oftentimes experience in sales is because we're spending so much time wasting time talking to the wrong people. And if you're an introvert like me, talking to the wrong people actually has a physical draining effect that always happens to people like us. Listen, we love to know what we're talking about. We don't like surprises. And most of all, we hate doing random. But when most of the sales understanding that we have seen over the years is talking about doing the obvious, doing the opposite, talk to everybody, sell with your hair on fire. Everybody needs my product. The problem is the fact for introverts, that type of matter of fact, random talk to a lot of people, throw stuff on the wall, see what sticks. It drains us. And when it drains us, it drains our productivity. Why? Because if we don't show up, we don't talk to people. If we don't talk to people, we don't make money. So when I made it my mission to start working with introverted perfectionists to go ahead and turn things around, like I've been turned around, I started taking a look at all these aspects and I started asking myself the question, why? What's going into the head? Well, we talked about early at the beginning of this call about talking to people we don't know. Once we get past family, friends, coworkers on that. So here's the answer. I'm going to get right to this. So talking to people we don't know. So, how do we go ahead and do that? Well, the first thing you need to go ahead and stop doing is trying to talk to everybody. Talk to everybody. Everyone has a face, everyone has skin. Stop that. Just stop it right now. You have a type. Remember, you don't do random. All right. Now, the question may be okay, Des, I'm with you, but so who's my type? Well, let me go ahead and help you out a little bit here as well. And I'll share with you my story, and hopefully this is going to help you. When I first started my coaching business, as I was basically sharing individuals how to sell, I was coming from the conventional world, just do a lot of stuff on the wall, talk to a lot of people. Maybe you'll run into your type and they'll benevolently give you money. Well, that's not sustainable, particularly for anybody who's trying to go ahead and pay bills, raise a family. You get the idea. We need a system, and I didn't have one at all. But this is what came out totally by accident. So I'm out and about, and I'm just talking to random people. I'm getting absolutely nowhere. And this is back in 2019. I started talking a lot from the stage, and I started noticing that after every time I invited people to come to the back of the room and get a free coaching session by a certified business growth coach, I started noticing that I had a certain type of person. Now, I want to be very clear about something. This entire time, I assumed I knew the people I wanted. They were going to be people just like me, a bunch of guys. But it turns out those are the individuals who were rejecting me the most. What I didn't realize is that I actually had type, a type of individuals who are already naturally drawn to me, but I never knew it. And it wasn't until after a series of just one failure after the other, till I was able to discover who that was. And I started noticing time and time again that while the people that I thought would be the ones I would work with on that never came up, I started noticing the people who were. And over time, in fact, after about five speaking events, I started noticing that all the people who kept coming to the back of my table all had the same characteristics. Matter of fact, follow along because you want to go ahead and see if these apply to you. Number one, they were mostly women, particularly women of color, African American, Latina, and white in that order. They were between the ages of 45 to 59. They were Christian or Christian influenced. They had a bachelor's or master's degree, a lot of master's degrees. They were introverted and recovering perfectionists. Yeah, you know who you are. They were single, divorced, or widowed. Even though we got a few married folk in there. And they all had a high sense of urgency, meaning this business has to work like yesterday. Okay. And also, matter of fact, these individuals also had, matter of fact, were oftentimes the family's natural givers and the family's to matter of fact, go to givers and go to helpers. I started noticing that these folks had a majority of these characteristics. And these are the individuals who are, listen carefully, naturally drawn to who I am, excuse me, would oftentimes basically be the individuals who would take me up on my free coaching session. And these are the individuals who would end up becoming my paid clients. This started happening over and over, guys. These are the people who are always at the end of my seminars going to my table and lining up. They were the ones who took advantage of the free coaching sessions and would eventually become my customers. This kept happening so often, I began to go in and wonder, hold on a second. Do I have a type? I think I have a type. And that's where the light bulb moment came. You see, I have been doing like what so many of you guys do and have been told, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So we're talking to a lot of people getting drained and frustrated. And then I noticed that every time I spoke to my type, I got a positive response. It's kind of like this. Imagine this. Imagine if you found out tomorrow that the people who were easily attracted to you would sign up for all the stuff you put out there and eventually become your customers were all people who had short cut hair, who wore gold hooped earrings and wore yellow blouses. So the person that you're working with always had short cut hair, had gold hooped earrings and yellow blouses with the people who are always attracted to you. Now, it may seem weird and it may not be what you expected, but if it turns out that every time you got around this crowd, they bought from you, you can put one and one together, typically makes two. And in this case, then you start recognizing, whoa, 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 hold on a second. Do I have a type? I think I have a type. You see, for so many of us, we've gotten very, very well focused. I have this type, there's going to be these people, et cetera, et cetera. But what's happening with so many of us is that while we're so clear on who we want, I want you, it never occurred to us if they wanted us. Understanding your type, like I discovered my type, saved everything. Once I started noticing that I had specific characteristics that were already drawn to me, I had to swallow my pride and decide to go ahead and lean in. And it was the best decision I ever made. Working with people who are already looking for me was the secret sauce. Now it doesn't feel as if I'm chasing individuals because I'm simply going after and talking to people who already want to go ahead and talk to me. Guys, Being able to understand your type has been the secret sauce. And this is really the thing I've been teaching so many professionals out there that are asking themselves the question, there's gotta be an easier way. Well, guys, listen, matter of fact, maybe I matter of fact, or misspeaking a little bit here, but easy, no. Simple, yes. And a simpler way that's in alignment with who you are authentically. Listen, for a lot of you out there, and I know who you are, you hate playing games. You pride yourself on being authentic. You pride yourself on being real. This is something that's going to knock your socks off because it allows you to show up authentically. And when that happens, always good things happen. Guys, there are no magic words. Trust me, I've looked. There are no magic ways of getting that done. The issue is, how can you sell without feeling fake, phony, salesy, or pushy? And most of all, authentic. And most of all, how can you go ahead and sell to people once you got past family, friends, and coworkers? Well, the secret here is talk to your type. Everybody who's ever been in a situation where you went to an event, a concert, job event, convention, knows exactly how it feels. Okay, you're in a place where you don't know anybody, and you instinctively start looking for what I call anchors. You're looking for individuals or common things, people, groups, matter of fact, affiliations. You're looking for somebody who's part of the same sorority, matter of fact, same ethnic group, gender, et cetera, et cetera. You're looking for anything that says we have something in common. It makes us feel safe by designing and showing individuals how to find their type going on. This has been something that's been revolutionizing the way people are selling, particularly my introverted perfectionists who don't want to have any part of the nonsense and, matter of fact, the high energy nonsense that does not seem consistent with who they are. Once you understand your type, everything changes. And most of all, you're able to sell and show up authentically. Does this sound good? If you like what you say, if you like what you're hearing and this is making sense, I would love, love, love to go ahead and get your comments and what you think. In fact, matter of fact, put in common ground in the comments, and I'd love to go ahead and get you some more information. Or if you prefer, you can always basically request a free, that's right, free coaching session with me. And it allows us to go ahead and get even deeper. Guys, this has been Coach Desmond. It's my pleasure to have been here for you. I hope what you heard here was helpful. If you like to, and also again, put in common ground in the comments or let me know you want to go ahead and get your free coaching session. By the way, you can always find out more information about me and other things I do by simply going to my website at coachdesmond.com. I hope this was a blessing. This has been Coach Desmond. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.